All that being said, Jennifer Hutchins.
Thank you. You guys should see it. This room is so crowded. It's like standing room only. It's amazing. Thank you for having me. We were just talking about when I first came here to speak, it was pre-pandemic, but there's this sort of like black cloud of memory here because it just feels like it was like last year, but I guess 3 years ago. And this film festival has done really well and it keeps growing, so this is really great. And you guys are also good for doing stuff like this because it's so good to meet other filmmakers. I mean, this is your tribe, and just to keep showing your stuff. I was just talking to some filmmakers this last week because I do an event monthly called Austin Entertainment Business, and then the global name is All Entertainment Business. And our theme was, the topic was how to leverage your film to get you more work. So, if you don't become a big hit on the movie theater screens or make a lot of money, it doesn't mean it's necessarily a failure. You can still use your project to drum up business. We were talking to a production company locally that does really well. They had a breakout documentary called Winnebago Man. It's a company called The Bear. You might have heard of that. But they were mentioning, we really never made money on that. And he's like, I was on Jimmy Kimmel. We got huge clients out of it. It built their business, but they actually never made money on that film. So, I think it's really good to set expectations when you start this journey that you maybe, your first film, your second, your third, fourth might not be that breakout, but that's okay, because you need to make, 10,000 mistakes before you become an expert anyway. So, people don't like to tell those stories, but, there are a lot of those stories behind every breakout success, so.
A lot of terrible shows before that breakout.
Well, you mentioned Producers Guild, and I was like, wow, I've been a member of the Producers Guild since 2005, and it feels like it's been such a whirlwind here. I guess I just aged myself. But, I got into producing because I love storytelling, and I started as a journalist. And when I moved out to Los Angeles, I was still thinking, am I going to be a journalist, or what am I going to do? And I sort of fell into a new thing at the time, which was documentary TV series, with my first big show being a show called Chris Angel Mind Freak on A&E. Mm-hmm. And I got to make mistakes, and oh boy, did I make a lot of mistakes. And I started at the bottom as a production assistant in post. And they didn't even call me a PA, they called me a runner. But the one thing that I did was I got everybody's coffee orders right, and I would be leaving the Staples, and I would go, okay, I've got the paper, the stapler, and the blah, blah, blah. Do you need anything else? Okay, ETA 5 minutes. By the way, to date, I have not had a PA do this with me. But it was very acknowledged that, wow, she's taking her job seriously. And so every time there was an opportunity to move into a different position, they would really consider me because I was starting to make myself, reliable. And they would say, go home at the end of the day. And then I'd look at the other guy and go, well, why are you still here? Oh, I've got to organize these tapes. And this was the post coordinator. Well, can I help you do that? I want to learn what you're doing. And so he taught me what he was doing. And when we ended season 1, a special started, and he decided not to come back. And I said, well, I know the post coordinator job. And they said, okay. And then that special ended a month later, and they started season 2. And I said, can you try me out as associate producer? I'm sure I'm cheaper than anybody else, and if I mess up, you're not taking too much of a risk. And they're like, okay. And that kept happening, and I think a year later, I was a field producer, and then that rolled into a couple seasons, and then I was a senior producer, a supervising producer, and producing. I was showrunning the series. So my point being that even if something's below you, treat it like it's the gold, and people do recognize that big time. And I still do this today. When I first moved to Austin, it was like starting over again. I'd been out in LA for 15, 16 years, and I got some open doors into companies, but it was 6 titles below what I would normally take, and I took it. I was like, great, I just want to get on their radar, and do a good job. And these clients are, to date, reoccurring, and now I'm back in my regular title. But, it's whenever anybody brings you into something, they're taking a risk on you. So they don't want to take an expensive risk sometimes. So what I've learned in this sort of Hollywood journey is that we got to let our egos go and just realize this is our tribe. This is our family. Sometimes we are cooking, cleaning, doing the dishes. It's okay.
Absolutely.
Totally agree.
What Jennifer said basically that she started from the bottom and now she's here. Just wanna, if you know, you know. So fantastic, love it, beautiful. I'm not gonna take up too much of your time. You know what it is. It's time to pitch. So we're gonna have you up first. You can introduce yourself really quickly.
Okay.
And then we'll set the timer.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hello, bonjour. I'm from Montreal, Canada.
No pressure, by the way, because I just had to pitch my movie today, and I was like, oh my gosh. So
No, it's okay. I'm very normal. I mean, a pitch for me, it's a pitch. You like it, you don't like it. You don't like it, you don't like it. I mean, my name is Leonardo Fuica. I've been working professionally since I was 12 years old. I'm 46. I mostly did work in Montreal, Canada, in French. But my dream was always to make movies in Hollywood. So yeah, I did a first movie in 2020 that is now on Amazon. But I want to go up the stairs, and I agree with what you say. I'm not afraid of starting at the bottom, and always be curious of learning how a movie set works and respecting everybody from the bottom to the top. I think it's really important. So here is my pitch. So my tagline is "Family is never left behind." The title of my movie is "The Little Devil and the Big Demon." The genre is an action thriller drama. The short synopsis is two hitman brothers working for a cartel in the US trying to save their sister from a misanthropic criminal because of a childhood incident. So I did a pilot that is currently in the festival. I was in LA, and a guy from LA told me that I was doing exactly what I'm doing, and going to festival and pitch and meeting people like you and learning how to get to the other one. There you go.
45 seconds.
great. Do you want me to comment afterwards? Because two things that I would love to hear in your pitch is something that defines these characters. What is the unique thing about them? Is one of them really tall, he's a giant, or another one, what's their sort of, visualization of these characters? And secondly, I would love to hear what inspired you to do this specific story. And you don't have to come up with it now, but those are the two things that I was like, oh, I'm missing that.
No, I'm very happy that and I have them. I have all answers to all questions, and yes. I inspired myself because I'm a big fan. I don't know if you know this, Bud Spencer and Terrence Gilliam. I don't know if you remember these guys, these actors. Bud Spencer was like a big, tall guy, and Terrence Gilliam was a little bit smaller, and it was more of a comedy, action stuff. And yes, my friend, who's a good friend of mine and an actor from Montreal, 6'5", 245, and I'm 5'3", 150. So I think that diversity of height, people get attached to that at the same time. So it's like in my movie, in the pictures, you have the little devil and the big demon. It's like, who you want to get killed by? The little devil or the big demon,
So now are they only on this mission of battling people? They're having height differences in arguments. I could see some comedic style here.
Exactly, and what's cool is they're blood brothers because they were both orphans, and their sister too. And in fact, the misanthropic criminal is also an orphan, and that was at the same place. So that's why when I say in my pitch, because of a childhood incident, yeah, it's there. It's all because what happens.
Yeah, and I would definitely include the orphans thing in there.
Oh, okay.
And then, do they have any sort of chip on their shoulder because they were an orphan? Something that gives another little sampling of the character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can go that far.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, the more
Yeah,
they put
yeah.
it, the better.
It's if you ever think about like when you talk to somebody about a movie you're really excited about, like mine is Goonies. Like think about all the things that pop out about that movie. Like especially when you're doing a 60-second pitch, you want to just like be like bam, bam, bam. Oh my God, this was so exciting
Okay, I
because
get it, I
that
get
guy,
it.
and then there was Chunk, and he does the jiggle dance. You know, like think of your pitch that way. Like the special secret thing that makes it so good.
Okay, that's good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do I need that thing or?
Yeah, change.
I'll just take that from you. And I'll slide it on to you, sir, and your VIP.
Well, we're in between. No matter what we're doing, a TV series or film, we always sit there and come up with what's interesting about the character that we're just about to write about. Even if it's a documentary, we're like, what is the heartbeat of this person that we want to see and follow? What is their secret sauce?
Yeah.
Hi.
So I'm Jeff Colangelo. I'm from Dallas originally, and a relatively new filmmaker. This is literally my very first pitch, so we'll see how it goes.
Nice. They say you always win on your first thing, so
Yeah,
you're already good.
exactly. Okay, so did you know in the Old West, it was technically possible for a black bounty hunter, an indigenous woman, a Chinese railway worker, a samurai, a pirate, and a vaquero to all meet in one place. So this is the concept behind Six Shooter. This band of extremely unlikely bounty hunters are going on one final job to try and get their last man. But they find themselves in a town with no ammo except for 6 final shots. And they have to use their skills, their teamwork, and their martial arts to defeat and catch their criminal. So this is a Kung Fu Western. That's all I got.
Nice. That's great. I mean, I think I would add another sentence that describes the potential arguments that are going to occur between this unlikely group of people.
Yeah, I think what's really exciting is that I want them to be speaking their native languages, and for those natural, for them to find common ground between each other where they incorporate each other's languages, but also for there to be natural miscommunication as well. And you're following this group of very different people who have managed to create a cohesive team and everything. So yeah, that is definitely the idea. So thank you for that. I can.
And you have a very good socially relevant underlying theme here about how people that come from all sorts of diverse cultures and different languages are going to have to come together to win. And can you imagine the challenges that are going to happen? And then you can also paint the picture of the town's reaction. Like, what is this town setting? I'm sure they're not going to be immediately
happy at
like,
all that they're there. Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. And yeah, that's a huge aspect of that, is that they go into a town that is not happy to see them overall. And it's an excellent example, opportunity to show off the martial arts from all these different cultures all in one place happening through there. There hasn't really been a Kung Fu Western since Shanghai Noon. And so having the opportunity to really make something like this and go even bigger and better from previous versions, I think is exciting.
Yeah. I'm really feeling the painting the picture of the town and the people is like something to work on enhancing with this, because I think that will make it really pop, and not get buried in the other sort of Western. Like I have another Western story. But, what's unique about this town?
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Good luck.
Great.
It takes a lot of guts to come up and pitch. When I'm at a party and somebody says that you've made a film, I instantly get nervous. I'm like, oh crap, what is my log line? What am I going to say?
Good to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, so here's the pitch. It's the ultimate 80s action comedy parody ever. So, we've seen Hot Shots, we've seen Tropic Thunder. I need to talk into this. So anyways, This is the ultimate 80s action comedy parody sequel, or a spoof movie possible here. But we're actually hopefully going to go into series mode with this because it's such a big idea. So let me just read you the log line because I don't have it memorized. Major Ditch, a retired elite U.S. Army commando who is haunted by the memory of the death of his battle buddy, Dambo, goes to Total Rewind to fix the past, but instead ends up in the future to confront his past and is recalled to duty where all hell breaks loose again, in full 80s action comedy spoof nostalgia glory.
What is it about the 80s that I'm going to see in your movie?
What are you missing is...
Am I going to see ninja attacks? Am I going to see like 80s attire?
It's Rambo and it's Arnold. That's really what it's about. And so it's bringing back these kind of antiquated action heroes, but if you were a child of the 80s or 90s, you've probably seen a lot of these great movies like Commando and Total Recall and Rambo and all this stuff. And this is like kind of where action movies cut their teeth. I mean, John Wick owes everything to these predecessors. You know, all these action movies do now, even these Marvel movies. So these are the guys that did it, though. I mean, they're still big names. I mean, Stallone still just came out with Samaritan. I don't know if you know that just happened on Prime, but it's a really good movie actually. And he's a superhero, retired, all that good stuff. So it's kind of funny that way.
I think the big question that you're going to get. So you got an '80s movie, you're going to instantly bring back nostalgia. So I want to think, oh, what sort of angles of the '80s are you going to, hit on, and how are these characters like burned out? Like that sort of.
They are burned out. Yes.
Yeah, like just sort of paint me that picture, because it's going to you want to paint the picture to bring me back to the 80s with what you're saying, like pretend like what you would tell your friend, like, remember when we grew up in the 80s? And I would even think that in your brain, remember when we grew up in the 80s and there was like this, well, I'm going to put everybody in this setting and they're going to be like this and this is going to happen. I definitely think that's like a fun, burned out conversational thing. So I would know the main points that you're going to hit, but I would definitely like memorize it, but pretend like you're talking to just your good buddy or your family about it.
Totally.
Because like everyone's going to have fun with that. It's like, remember the cord on the phone, you'd wrap it around, you get stuck in it, and you're like...
You're exactly, you're explaining it perfectly. You really are. So we do, and so we don't want to just take just Arnold and Rambo. Those are the two heroes, though. So they're iconic. We recognize them. At least a lot of us should still, at least. And we're going to base the whole spoof comedy around the two of them going through an adventure. And it basically is Arnold lost Rambo or Stallone in Vietnam, and so it's about him making peace with that, and of course, being in the service and being a weapon for the wrong causes. So he does have a great story arc himself. They all do, actually. But the main thing is just making the funny out of everything. So we want to take Demolition Man, RoboCop, Aliens. Everything has a way to get entwined in this because it is such a fun and ridiculous thing that happens, because we're going to pull Terminator into it. The first film that we actually made was called No Chance, and it was a parody sequel to Commando. So we already cut our teeth on that. Basically, we like to call it our Evil Dead 1. And so we already got distributed, thank God, and we're on Prime and Tubi and a couple other platforms now. Yeah, so we signed with ITN. They're not the biggest, but they're pretty good people, and they've done well for us, and they've got us out there. So there's a little bit of a following, and people do get it. And right now, it's like super fans get because we got the attention to detail, but we're used to John Wick now, the general public now, as far as the demographic for moviegoers and all that. So we're trying to pull that into this new idea, because our first idea was a little too specific, a little too nostalgic. So this again is going to be super big, and so it picks up with in the 80s. Ditch, or Arnold, basically. He's depressed, his life's at a dead-end job, because... Oh, Jesus. Is it amount of time? Anyways, thank you for your time. Maybe we could talk again.
Yeah, it goes fast, but I wish you luck, and yeah, I think just get some more of those fun details in there, and your whole look and the way you're talking goes along with it, so that's working.
We try. Now come on, quit screwing around. Let's have some fun in here.
Thank you.
Good stuff, Boss.
There we go, man. Good job.
Awesome. And you are next. Let me let you do that.
Thank you.
Because I'm a gentleman.
Thank you.
And ready to go.
Welcome.
Hi there, thank you. I'm Diana. I'm here with Standard Definition Film. We showed our feature earlier. So our pitch for our next feature is called Slow Cooker Death Trap. It's set in a near future where militant vegans have actually completely outlawed the sale of organic meat. So an underground meat trade has popped up, and as a cost-cutting measure, they've integrated human meat, which is much easier to get away with than traditional farming. So we're following an intrepid FDA officer who is the new FBI as she tries to take down this underground meat smuggling ring. It's going to be a fun, rompy, satirical thriller with a lot of action, and that's kind of where we are conceptually right now with it.
Okay, what has inspired this? That's the first question that pops up.
A lot of different things. We write kind of as a collective, so a lot of our ideas end up being riffing together off of, like, one of us has an idea about, like, let's do something about veganism, and then somebody else is like, oh, but what if there was like an underground meat trade? And then somebody else will pop in and be like, well, what if there was rabies involved? And so it just kind of
So you
grows
landed
out
on
of a seed.
human meat.
Yeah. We felt like it was a fun angle to take with, we really want to satirize kind of both sides of the meat debate and have these really vigorous meat eaters who are defending this morally reprehensible side, and then also have the militant vegans who are kind of being very authoritarian about the whole thing. So hopefully everybody can kind of laugh at it no matter where you fall on that spectrum.
I just had a question. I totally went blank. Why is it harder to get animal meat than human meat?
The ecological footprint is actually a lot bigger. So it's really easy to tell when somebody's raising livestock because there's so many resources that go into it. You need a lot of land, you need a lot of irrigation, you need a lot of food. As opposed to humans, it's a lot easier to abduct someone without having people notice because there are so many unsolved missing persons cases each year.
The restaurant business is / abduction business.
yes, there is. We are going to bring in an element of kind of like how does it work from top to bottom? Like, how is distribution happening? How is, like, sort of, there's a lot of comedy to be found in sort of the fine details of, like, how would this actually work?
3 favorite moments from the film, the funniest moments.
Oh, funniest. I don't know if, so at one point we have a character who is running around getting deposits from the restaurants for their delivery, and he's on the phone with his bank. Throughout all of his hijinks, he's like twisting people's arms for money, and he's trying to dispute an OnlyFans charge that has incorrectly been billed to his account. So he's like roughing up these restaurant people while he's on hold with his bank. And we play that gag 4 or 5 times. And the absurdity of strong-arming these people while dealing with this super mundane frustration is really funny. I don't know if this counts as a funny moment, but there is going to be a chainsaw fight at the very end as our, like, climactic kind of brawl. And then we're also going to have a flashback to sort of the inciting incident of this veganism takeover, which we are referring to as vegan nom in the script. There are tree huggers involved as a literal. I'm sorry, it's your guys' story. Yeah, thank you.
Did you guys see what happened here? It was a great opening, but then when she got her 3 top moments, it's like you can visualize this film now, right? And culminating with a chainsaw fight, and then you've got this real guy killer that just has to make real life phone calls while he's beating people up. See, that's what makes it different. Like, now I can see why I'd want to watch this out of any other vegan people eating a movie.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that, killer. Alrighty, so now is the moment of truth. You have 30 seconds to deliberate, settle your emotions, right? And figure out, in your opinion, who was the number one. This is the Austin Action Fest. This is basically a fight scene on stage. There will be no second place. There is no second. There's just a winner. So, Jennifer, you get to pick. You can elaborate if you like to. You can explain if you want to. But you got 2 minutes to tell us who was the winner. And go.
Okay, first off, before I say, wherever you're at, and if you're ever being judged, the judges are very biased from where they've come from and what their preferences are. So never take it to heart. It doesn't mean that you've done a bad job if you're not picked as a #1. It means, somebody hit on something with the judges. And I feel this way with this particular film in my own filmmaking journey, in my own comedic style, and storytelling abilities, and so I have to land with vegan people eating. I'm sorry, what was the name of the Slow cooker death trap. Slow cooker death trap, and it's a great title too. And you guys did also a great job at the pitch. She just, I used to work with Adam Carolla, and I was like, that's an episode we would do mixed with the animal rescue show when we had vegan activists. Like the whole thing just came together.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Big round of applause to everybody. It is not easy to get on a stage. Not easy to get on a stage in front of a bunch of people and be like, hey, this is my thing, please like it. It's very, very rough, and as she says, you never know who you're pitching to. Like, I'm gonna have certain tastes, she can have certain tastes, and it may not be that your pitch is wrong or bad, it's just not right maybe for that person or what they're looking for at that time. And Hollywood is just not right now. It's not ever, it's just not right now. So fantastic work, everyone. Very proud of you guys. We'll do this again. And we're getting ready to set up for the next Stunt Women's Panel Action Extravaganza. So give us about 5 minutes to check that out and hang out. And we'll be getting you your gift. You're gonna get that through email. So you get the
Can I also do a shameless plug?
Please go for it. Please.
So 5 years ago, when I moved from Hollywood to Austin, I felt like I wanted a better way to connect with the community in Austin, and I started this group, Austin Entertainment Business, which grew to over 20,000 people outreach in Texas and globally. A lot of my producer friends from LA are onboarded in New York, and we have just come out with the first localized networking app. So you can use it here as you're meeting other people, like right now. It's where they can scan your QR code, and it has all your links, your movie pitch, whatever you want to put in there just with one little scan. And it has your own private Rolodex where you can save people with a to-do list of following up. So it's just app.allentertainmentbusiness.com. And I'm going to stand over here if anybody wants to scan me, and you'll get it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for coming and listening to pitches.
You guys are great. Thank you for your time.